Try to find that talking. Okay, today what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple different things. Our first one is, up to now we've given you guys a lot of different ways to look at things. We've given you tables, we've given you equations, we've given you graphs, and you're able to analyze each of them. And especially when you're doing the tables, you're able to find a common unit for comparison, or make one so you can make a comparison. But today what we're going to do is we're going to give you the information in different formats, and then ask you which one is make a comparison based on the different formats, okay? So your first option is still to find a common entry. However, if they specifically ask for a unit rate, the way you're going to do that, if I have a table, I find my unit rate when the first column, the value of that first column on my second column is 1. So basically, whatever my second column is, I want to divide by that amount to get it down to 1. That gives me my unit rate. If it's in a graph, I know the unit rate. I look where x is 1, and I go up, and then I find the y value. That's my unit rate. If it's an equation, it's the value for my lone variable, the y, when I put 1 in on the other side. So basically, whatever I multiply the other side by, when I multiply by 1, gives me the value or the unit rate. So we'll do some examples of those to help them make more sense to you, but that's just kind of your quick reference. If we are doing unit conversions, the way you're going to do that, you're going to write down what you're converting. Just whatever they tell you, I need to convert this units, write it down. You're going to multiply it by the conversion factor. So the first thing you do is put the unit times, put a division bar. You're going to put your conversion factor on the other side. So when I'm converting to on the top, when I'm converting from on the bottom, you then go to the chart. Both numbers, put your numbers in. If both numbers end up being on top, you're going to multiply them. If I have one on top, one on bottom, then I'm going to divide them. It's pretty simple. Again, we're seeing this units matter piece, right? What is it that's going to cost you guys a lot of points? You're not writing your units. Monty? Good, thank you. Glad that's getting through. Okay, let's go ahead and open up your modules to page 79. So on this one, we're going to analyze the tables and graphs. So our first one, we have a ratio of the cups of blue paint to cups of red paint is 1 to 2, which means for every cup of blue, there are 2 cups of red. In this case, the equation will be red equals 2 times B, which we would write mathematically as R equals 2B. And in this case, B represents the amount of blue paint, R represents the amount of red paint. Make a table of the values. That's what we're supposed to do. So what is the first thing I need to do for my table? Right, so. No? Devin?
Label the R and B.
Thank you. So what should we use?
R and B.
R and B, but what did it say? B and R, right?
Oh yeah, B and R.
So B and R, is that all I need to do for that?
No, you need to make a side thing showing what B and R.
What do we call that? What do we call that side thing? You are correct. Lydia? That's more of a math term. That's more of a math term for social studies. You're close. It's called identifying my variables, right? So B equals blue in cups, and R equals red in cups. So we've identified our variables. So now we're ready to start inputting our values. Okay, what's the first value I should put in?
1 and 2.
1 goes where?
On the top and the back.
2 on the bottom? Okay. Liam, what's my next value? How did you get that? Right, but how did I go from this one to this one? Okay, so you do a multiplicative, so times 2. So we do a multiplicative, now what do I multiply by? 3. Remember, we always go back to that initial value, gives me 3, 6. We've established our root. So our next entry would be 4, 8, 5, 10. Everybody good on those? Hope you guys have built enough tables at this point. It's getting easier for you. So now that you guys are getting good at these tables, let's throw a curveball at you. The Stipples librarian who really enjoys reading, she can read 3/4 of a book in one day. This relationship can be represented by the equation days equals 3/4 books, which can be written mathematically as D equals 3/4 B. D is the number of books, and D is the number of days. So what's the first thing I need to do, Sean?
Label the 3 sections.
Okay, so what do you want to label them?
Books and days.
Okay, that works for me. So we do our identifying our variable. B is what? Number of books. Again, be as specific as possible. D equals number of days. Okay. Devin, what's my first entry?
3/4 and 1.
I was hoping I could trip you up. Well done. 3/4 and 1. So what's my next entry going to be? Porter?
One and 1/2 and 2.
Good. So I'm going to start with the what you started at 6/4. But you are correct. That then simplifies to 1 and 1/2. How did you get there?
I just multiplied 3 times 2 and then I simplified.
Okay, so you did times 2, so you did multiplicative. So now we'll do times 3. So my next entry is going to be 3 times 3 gives me 9/4. That simplifies to what? Devin?
2 and 1/4.
Is there anyone who doesn't know how to do that? Please be honest.
I forgot how to do it. I used to know.
No worries, Andrew. So all I do is I say, how many times will 4 go into 9? 2. That's the whole. How much is left over? 1. So that remainder goes up here, and I just keep the fraction piece, 1/4. Make sense? Then at the bottom it becomes 3. What's my next entry? Now I'm doing times 4, 12/4. That simplifies to 3. Oh, look at that. There's our fraction, 3/4. Because now there are 4 days, it's now 3 of the 4. Then our next one is going to be 15/4, which simplifies to 3 3/4, and 5. Everybody okay on that one? Fractions didn't mess up too bad? Good deal. Okay, let's go turn the page again.
Alright, now we're going to use tables with graphs. So let's look at it. Brian and Shanice are both training for a bike race and want to compare who rides his or her bike at a faster rate. Both bikers use apps on their phones to record the time and distance of their bike rides. Brian's app keeps track of his route on a table, and Shanice's app presents the information on a graph. The information is shown below. So we have our table like the ones we just made, and then we have our coordinate plane like we did last week. Does everybody remember? And notice they have all of their labels the way we told y'all to do it, so it's set up properly. So let's look at A. It says, at what rate does each biker travel? Explain how you arrived at your answer. So if we're looking for their rate, we need to find something they have in common. Yes? So looking at Brian's table and Shanice's table, do they have anything in common about their bike rides? Kaden?
Each hour they travel 50 miles.
Do I have a number for each hour for Brian?
No.
Okay, so what do they both have in common? Do they have a number that's in common?
Yeah.
What?
3.
They both have 3 hours. Shanice has 3 hours. And Brian has 3 hours. So let's look at Brian first. What do we know about his rate? What does that tell us? How do I write that as a rate? Come on, we did rates yesterday or Tuesday. Say it. Okay, so 3 hours for 75 miles.
You're so nice.
Me?
She gave you a ratio.
Oh. And how would I write Shanice's rate? Devin?
45 miles, or 3 hours for 45 miles.
If they asked us to give them the unit rate, what would we do to each of these?
Subtract them down to,
Subtract?
or divide so that the hours.
I would divide them by 3 to get to 1 hour, yes?
Okay, so Ms. McShane just lost contact, so I'll switch it in here. So the first thing we need to do is set up, because we're going to go down to 1 hour. How do I go from 3 to 1?
Divide by 3.
Divide by 3. So if I divide 75 by 3, what do I get? Okay. On our other one, again, we just continue to set it up. Hopefully you guys are practicing this setup. I saw a lot of students on my side that are just doing the math without trying to set these up. You're setting yourselves up for failure, guys. Is this hard to do?
No.
So please do it. I'm not asking you to do really hard things, but if you get into this and you start to understand this format, as these numbers get harder, you'll still be okay, because you understand how to get there. So how do I go from 3 to 1? Divide by 3. So if I divide 45 by 3, I get 15. Does anybody need me to do the math to show you that? Okay. So, at what rate does each biker travel? Brian travels at, how do we know we talk about speed? Miles per hour, right? So they kind of did this backwards. So if I were to talk about Brian's speed, how fast would I say he goes? 25 miles per hour, right? How fast would I say Shanice goes?
15 miles per hour.
15 miles per hour. Does that make sense? So as I set it up, it's 1 hour for 25 miles, 1 hour for 15 miles. It's the same thing, but normally when we talk about specifically speed, we go the other way. So now, Shanice wants to win. So we're going to make a new graph to show the speed Shanice would have to ride in order to beat Brian. So what's the first thing we need to do as we're building a graph? No?
Oh,
Title, right? So what do you want to call this?
Need to win.
Okay, I'll call it bike race. I like that one. Or you can call it specifically, because we're talking about Shanice. We really want Shanice's speed or bike race. Apparently I live in
I said
Japan.
that too. I swear I said that exact same thing.
Bike race.
I said bike race.
So the next thing we need to do is label. So what's my bottom label?
It would be miles.
Miles. What would be our side? Hours. Okay. Now, what do we do for our intervals? I'm going to go every 2. So we start at 0, 0. What's my first one going to be? For our hours, we went by what? By hours, we went by what? Not a trick question, guys. By hours, we went by ones. Okay? So we go by ones on the hours. What about for the miles? What am I going to do? What do you think, Lydia?
I didn't end up with miles, but
Do what?
I I have my hand up for something.
Okay, you can still answer. I trust you. First off, let's focus on what we're trying to do. She's trying to do what? Beat who? Be faster than Brian. And what did Brian do? How fast is he going?
75.
25. So how fast does she need to go? What's going to make a good interval for us?
30. Pretty good. 25. Well, no.
Would 25 beat him?
No. It's higher. So 30.
26 is faster.
26 is faster. Do I want to use 26?
No.
What's 4 times 26? Devin, what are you saying to do?
Well, yeah. I'm saying put it at 30, but I was thinking.
So 30, 4 times 30 is.
100.
Is that what you do the math is? If I get to choose, do I want to choose 26 or do I want to choose 30?
30.
I want to choose 30 because I'm lazy and I try to get it as easy as I can.
106. I agree with you. I think 4 times, what was it, 26 is 106.
No.
Oh, wait, no, 104.
4 times,
26.
yeah, 104. Okay? And then our last step is, there's a 5. I could put the 5 in there. Our last step is graphic. So over to 30 up to 1, back to 0, over to 60 up to 2, back to 0, over to 90 up to 3, back to 0, over to 120 up to 4. That came out weird. And then over 150 up to 5. Our next step is we do what?
Line.
How do we draw our line?
Straight edge.
Thank you, straight edge. We get a straight edge with some typing. I have no pencil, I don't care. You guys have a lot more options than I do because unfortunately on the board I can't do a straight edge. I have to freehand it. Don't forget your arrow at the end. Is everybody okay on building these graphs? Okay? The graphs aren't going to go away anytime soon. We're going to be using graphs all years, guys. So make sure you understand all the pieces that are required for you to be successful on these. Okay, let's go ahead and turn to page 81.
Let's just keep popping out.
Let's see a minute.
All right, number 2. Braylon and Tice work at a department store and are paid by the hour. The manager told both boys they earned the same amount of money per hour, but Braylon and Tice did not agree. They each kept track of how much money they earned in order to determine if the manager was correct. Their data is shown below. Braylon used an equation to show his payroll, where H represents the number of hours worked and M represents the number of money Braylon was paid. So let me ask you a question. When you have a number and a letter by each other, such as $10.50, H, what operation does that mean you are doing to solve that problem? Gian? Okay, so are you adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Chase?
Multiplying.
We are multiplying. Did you say that?
Yeah.
Good job. So at the bottom of your page, the top of your page, go back to your notes somewhere. I want you to write number and letter equals multiply. Everyone should be writing it. A number by a letter means to multiply.
Number by a letter multiply.
Yes.
No. Good example.
Write it.
Yeah. So just add that on your notes right there, guys. She's writing that out for you. It's good to put it in your notes. Where hopefully you guys started to look back at your notes occasionally, and then show an example. Like do a
Everybody see that?
an example like 2W. There you go.
All right, then Tice used a table, and we have seen several of these. So let's look at A. It says, how much does each person earn for 1 hour? So let's start with Braylon. Braylon says that his money is $10.50 times the number of hours. So if I want to find out how much he makes in 1 hour, what am I going to do to solve? Multiply what? By 1? Where am I putting that 1? What does that 1 represent? How many hours? So what in our problem represents hours? The H. So I'm going to replace my H with that number 1, and that means multiply. So what is 1050 times 1? So he makes $10.50 per hour. Hey. All right, then we have Tice. He set up a table. What is Tice's rate that he gave us? What rate did Tice give us in his table? You can tell me. This one is a lot quieter than the last one. Devin.
Well, we record these guys.
Tice's rate was $34.50 for 3 hours.
For 3 hours. And they want to know how much they make per hour. So what do I have to do to Tice's rate?
Divide it.
Because I'm trying to get to
1 hour.
1 hour. So what am I dividing by? What goes in my mystery box? 3. I'm dividing by 3. So I have to divide $34.50 by 3. Can 3 go into 3? How many times? That's 0. Bring down my 4. 3 and a 4? That leaves 1. Bring up my decimal. Down my 5. 3 and 15? I still have to use the 0 they gave me. Can 3 go into 0? No, so I put a 0 in my answer. So how much does Tice make per hour? $11.50. So see if you can answer question B. Was the manager correct that they make the same amount per hour? Why or why not? Go ahead and answer B. So $34 over 3 hours. So now we're going to 1 hour. So we divide this by 3. And we got $11.50. That's how much you make in 1 hour. And for this one, a number by a letter means a multiple. H represents the number of hours. So if we're looking for 1 hour, we're going to put 1 with a zero. So 1050 times 1 is just giving me $10 for 1 hour. You want to answer the question? Yes, you see it. All right. Isabella, was the manager correct that they make the same amount of money each hour?
No, the manager is incorrect because Tice makes an extra dollar per hour.
Very good. No, he was incorrect. I don't like this board. It drives me nuts. Tice makes how much more, Isabella? $1 more per hour. Yes? Alright, so using what you know about rates and unit rates, I want you to find out how much money would each Tice and Braylon make in 8 hours. See if you can find out how much they would each make in 8 hours based on the information we just found. I'm going to give you, well, you only have a couple minutes to lunch, so we'll finish this after lunch, but work until the bell rings. Okay? How do I find out how much you made in 8 hours, Sean?
So you made $10.50 for 1 hour. So then you multiply that by 8. $84.
And you got $84. That is correct. Good job. And what about Tice? Kaden? Where did the $11.50 come from? $11.50 was how much he made in
1 hour.
1 hour. And we're going to 8 hours. So what did you say I multiply by? And what did you get? $92. Good job, thank you. Any questions about that one? Did everybody understand how to get there?
Pay attention, because you may see that very soon on a quiz. Something very similar. Thanks, ma'am. Okay, we're going to turn the page. Now we're going to look at Claire and Kent. Or Kate, or two. They're both having a strategy where they do a constant rate so they don't slow down at the end of the race. While practicing, they keep track of their progress, shown below. Claire, we've got a table or chart. Oh, thank you. And Kate, we have an equation. So the first question, at what rate does each girl stack her cups during the practice sessions? So when we talk rate, what do we really want? She came back, she just had to go to the restroom. Rate, I want what? Number of seconds. What number of seconds? Gives me a unit rate. What's that, Chase? 1. So at 1 second, how many cups does she stack? So at 1 second, she does 5 cups. Does everybody see that? And that was for Claire. What about for Kate? Kate has an equation. How would I figure it out for her? Kate, can you say it again? What do I need? I need 1 second, right? So can I put 1 second into her equation? If I put 1 in for t, because t represents the amount of time in seconds, right? So if I do c equals 4t, but now I say 1, 4 times 1 equals what? Is it the high math that's really killing you guys, or the coming back from lunch? It's 4. So she does, in 1 second, she gets 4 cups. So, who's faster? Claire, because in the same time of 1 second, Claire stacks 5 cups, Kate only does 4 cups. Kate notices she is not stacking her cups fast enough. What would Kate's equation look like if she wanted to stack cups faster than Claire? So there's our question. So how could I change her equation? Right now, it's c equals 4t. How could I change that to make her faster than Claire? Devin?
Change it so that it's c equals 16.
Okay, would that work? Does everybody understand why we changed it to something like that? Could I have made it 8t? Yeah? The key is it just need to be bigger than 5, right? Anybody not understand why that works? Be honest. Okay. Go ahead and turn the page. There is your first page of homework. The should look very similar. We did a very problem just like this with the sports cycles, right? So our first one, we're taking a legend and supreme. I need to, and here's one of the keys. So you see two different representations shown below. If he based it on gas efficiency, which car should he buy? So if I'm going to compare a table and a graph, what's my first option, the easiest way? Really? Yes, you do. If I want to compare something, what do I need to do? Can I compare 4 and 3?
No.
No. So what could I compare? Can I compare 4 and 8?
No, 12.
4 and 8 are both on here.
12.
12. I can compare 12 and 12, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay? Now, here's the key kicker to this, though. On the next one, they give me 289 and 17. So I'm going to have to go down to a unit rate. But the nice thing is, I gave you basically the answer. So you figure out which one of those you need to break down to a unit rate. When you use a unit rate, guys, go to the smallest number to make it easy for yourself. Okay? So the smaller number will make it easier for the math. Go to the next page. No, this is not your homework. We're going to continue working in class. So just stop that one. This should be page 85. Actually, we skipped 2 pages, sorry. Yeah, we skipped one. So we're not going to do anything on 84. Let's go to 85. This one looks almost identical to your homework last night. So for those of you that didn't want to admit you didn't understand, here's a good chance for us to refresh again. Vivian's going to buy watermelon. Kingston's Market has a 10-pound watermelon for $3.90. But Farmer's Market has a 12-pound watermelon for $4.44. Which market has the best price for the watermelon? Let's start with Kingston's Market. What is my rate? Ian, how do I set it up? Kingston's Market. What's my rate? Thank you for using the units. I was actually kind of hoping you'd just give me a ratio like other people did earlier, but you did exactly what we needed to. So, yes, a rate includes the units. So, what do I need to do in order to be able to compare this? Get down to what? 1 what? 1 pound or $1?
$1.
I can do either one, right? I'm going to go to 1 pound because that's going to make the math a lot easier. So 10 pounds to 1 pound, what do I need to do?
Divide by 10.
Divide by 10. You guys all know the trick for dividing decimals by tens, right?
Yeah.
Devin, what is it?
Take out both of the zeros.
No?
Or, wait.
Gian?
Oh, yeah, this is the decimal.
I just move the decimal. So if I'm dividing, I move my decimal left. If I'm multiplying, I move my decimal right. I move it once for every 0 that I'm multiplying. So 10 has 1 0. So I move it left once. That makes it 39 cents. Pretty easy, right? Okay, that was Kingston's Mark. What about the Farmer's Mark? What is my rate for that one, Monty? Do what? 12 and 444, is that my rate? What do I have to have for rate? Units. 12 what? 12 pounds and 444 what? Dollars. When I talk about a rate, guys, you've got to include those units. That is the mathematical definition of rate, a comparison of two units. Okay? So now that I've got my units on there, we're going to do pounds and dollars. Because we came down to per pound here, we'll do the same thing here. So I could have done it per dollar, but we're going that way to make it easy. You do have to be consistent. So how do I go from 12 to 1? Divide by 12. So we're going to take our 444, divide it by 12. Will 12 go into 4? No, so I bring my decimal up. 12 into 44. Yes, how many? 3. 12 into 84. 7. You're right the first time. So that gave me 37 cents. So which one should they buy? Which market has the best price? Okay? You rather pay 39 cents a pound than 37 cents a pound?
I misread the names of them.
That's what happens when you go too fast sometimes. Farmer's market has the better price. Any questions on how we got to that or why farmer's market was better? Okay, so our next one, what is the difference between the two unit prices? There's our question. What's the difference in the prices? Okay. How did you get that? You divided 39 and 37? Subtracted. Okay? So, the difference is 2 cents. Written as 0.02 with the dollar sign, or if you did it as cents, you could also write it 2 cents. I would take either one of those. Okay, next one. Mitch now is buying soft drinks for a staff party. He's trying to figure out if it's cheaper to buy the 12-pack or the 20-pack of soda. The 12-pack of soda costs $3.99. 20-pack of soda costs $5.48. Which pack should Mitch choose? There's our question. So, Isabella, what's my first rate? Awesome. Thank you for including the units. So, to be able to compare, what do you think we should take it down to? 1. So how do I go from 12 to 1? Quick side note, guys. Does it take me long to write this? Does that take long to write? No. But that's going to make it really easy to see what I need to do. So do you think it's worth the minimal time it takes to write that to make sure you're right?
Yes.
Get into good habits, guys. So what am I doing? To the $3.99. See how easy this is if you set this up right, guys? So divided by 12, how many times will it go into 3? It won't. Bring my decimal up. Goes into 39 3 times. Gives me another 39. Gives me 3 times. I'm not doing 0 yet, so now I go into 30. How many times? Thank you, Isaiah. Do I need to keep going? I'm dealing with money, so I don't have to go further than that. So that 33.332 is going to round to what? 0.33. Okay? The 2 basically goes away. It's less than 5. If that had been a 5 or greater, we would round it up to 34 cents. Okay, that's my other rate. Andrew, I haven't heard from you yet. Do you know my other rate? I'll give you a hint. We already did the 12-pack. Okay, good. 548 what? Thank you for including the units. So 20-pack is $5.48. And I want to get to what? 1 pack. How do I go from 20 to 1? Divide by 20. So I'm going to take our 548, divide by 20. Can't go into 5, so my decimal comes up, goes into 54 twice. 148 is going to go 7 times. Come out at 0, so bring down another 0. It's going to go 4. So here I'm done. What is 0.274 round to? 27 cents. Okay? So which pack should Mitch choose? That's our actual question. We've done all the work. Guess what happens if you do all this work and never answer the question, guys? We'll give you half credit because you've done all the work, and normally when we set this up, half the work, half the points are on the work, half the point is on actually answering the question. So which one should he buy? The pack, 20 pack. Okay, so he should buy the 20 pack. And then our next one, what is the difference in cost between single cans from each of the 2 packs? What is the difference? T, you haven't answered one yet. What's the difference between the 2 12 packs? The 2 packs of soda. How did you get that? Good. All I got to do is 33 minus 27. So the difference is 6 cents. Again, anybody not understand where you get that number from? Okay. One more then. Let's do the purchasing of the batteries. Mr. Steiner, he needs to purchase 60 double A's. A nearby store sells a 20 pack for $12.49 and a 12 pack of the same batteries for $7.20. So it'll be less expensive to purchase the batteries in 20 packs or 12 packs. What's my first rate? Solo? First rate. First rate. You kind of gave me a half and a half. You gave me half rate, show half rate. Kaden? Thank you. 20 pack, because rate has to include the units, for $12.49. So in order to do a comparison, what do you think I should take this down to? 1, right? So for 1 pack, how do I go from 20 to 1? Divide by 20. So I'm going to take my $12.49 divided by 20. It's not going to go to 12. My decimal comes straight up. It's going to go 124 6 times. Gives me 49. It's going to go to 49 twice. Gives me a 9. Bring down another 0. Goes into 94 times. Do I need to keep going? No. So what's that get around to? 62 cents. Okay, what is my second ratio, Jayla?
Your second ratio is 12 packs and $7.20.
Okay, 12 packs, $7.20. And I want to know what it's going to come out as in 1 pack and how many dollars. How do we go from 12 to 1? Kaden? Divide by 12. So I take my 720, divide that by 12. It's not going to go into 7. Bring my decimal straight up. Goes into 72 6 times. That's a 0. So I'm all done, right, Lydia?
No, you're not done. You have to answer it in really simple stuff. You put the answer in the...
Am I done with my math on this?
No. You have to put the 0
Oh, the 0 matters?
Yes.
Oh, I just wanted to check. So that gives us 60 cents. Now, there you go. Great job. So what is my actual answer then? Because you're absolutely right. We're not done. We got to still answer the question, which is?
The difference is...
Nope, that's the next one.
You should buy the 12-pack.
Good. You should buy the 12-pack. And this does actually happen in real life, guys. There have been times, normally, the bigger packs are cheaper, but you have to be careful. Sometimes, if you do the math, the smaller packs are actually better. Okay, so what is the difference between the cost of one battery from each pack? Okay. The difference is 2 cents. And I would actually include the rate. So say the difference is 2 cents per battery. Because if it's 2 cents for the 60 batteries, not a big deal. But 2 cents for every battery when I'm buying 60 is a big deal. Okay, really quickly, let's see who wins. Who gets first? Who has the table filled in? Fill it in. What's our last answer? Raise your hand when you got it. Oh, you got it? Oh, your hand was up. You were thinking?
Yeah.
Devin, I saw your hand first. What was it?
1,080.
Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah.
Good. Again, just practicing, making sure you guys are staying sharp on all of the work that we've done so far. Okay, go ahead and turn on over to page 89. Okay, page 89. Then make sure you understand, guys, the hard part on this page is it literally builds. You have to get the first problem right to get the second one right. If you make a mistake anywhere along the line, it's going to mess you up for the entire thing. Because every question depends on the one before it. So our first one, how much does Gabe earn per hour, right? So what am I going to need to do to this? Divide by 3. Set it up. Make it easy. Figure out what he earns per hour, right? So now, here, he has earned $3 more per hour. So am I going to add the 3 to the 40? No. What am I going to add it to? My answer for part 1. That's why I said if you get the wrong answer, it's going to have a cascading effect. So your answer here, I add $3 to that answer, but then what's my first entry in the table? 4. So what do I do once I have taken his answer and added 3 to it? Multiply that answer by 4, because that gives me my first entry. Once you have your first entry, then you can just keep adding that. You don't have to do it by times 8 times 12, unless you want to. But that first entry has to be right, or the whole table will be off. The next one, they now give you an equation here. So, how would I figure out how much more she earns in an hour? Do we have Gabe's hourly rate? Or Jordan? Oh, actually, it does say more than Gabe. So also be careful of that. Now we're talking back to here. How much does she make in 1 hour? I'm giving you guys an answer. If I put 1 in for H, how much does she make? 21.
Yeah.
So then I compare that to what Gabe does. Make sure you do the math correctly. And then it says, Jordan received a raise. He earns the same amount now as Serena. So guess what I need to do? I take the hourly rate from here, compare it to the hourly rate from here, and then subtract 21 minus what this one was to get your answer. Pretty easy, right? So you guys see why I wanted to talk about this? This is really convoluted. If you're not careful, it's going to be very easy to get tripped up on what you need to do. So please make sure you're reading the directions and referring to the correct numbers to do your comparisons. Any questions on this page of homework? Good. That's fast. Good job, guys. See you next week.